Okay, I'm
All
gonna
right.
start it,
Excellent.
hopefully.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Governor Dugard, for hosting this celebration. And for everyone that's in attendance today, we're delighted that you're here and in the presence of this wonderful ceremony that we have to recognize performance excellence. I'm Clint Willard, Superintendent of Schools in the Brookings School District, and a board member of today's host, the Performance Excellence Network, PEN, which is the short name for the Performance Excellence Network. PEN is a 31-year-old nonprofit organization that advances continuous improvement for organizations across our region. Our mission, very simple, is to help organizations and communities of all types to improve performance outcomes. We do so by helping leaders identify and prioritize improvement opportunities so that they focus their precious resources on doing the right things and doing them the right way. As we convene forums such as breakfast discussions, workshops, various roundtables, conferences, we bring together leaders, professionals, and experts to share and to learn best practices across the industries to learn about improving overall organizational results and effectiveness. Right now, PEN serves over 250 member organizations in South Dakota, dare I say North Dakota, and of course Minnesota. Member organizations represent all sizes across those states and various sectors and industries as well. Manufacturing, service companies, school districts such as the Brookings School District, higher education institutes, hospitals, and healthcare systems, as well as nonprofit organizations, and as we'll celebrate today, governmental organizations and agencies as well. Our work is based on standards of excellence, represented in the Baldrige Framework for Continuous Improvement, which is a validated set of best practices that we'll hear about in just a minute. PEN's efforts have helped many, but specifically, it's helped businesses grow, helped sustain jobs and organizational competitiveness, improve productivity. It's helped hospitals and clinics improve patient care and literally save more lives. It's helped schools, so again, such as the Brookings School District, focus on quality educational outcomes and improvement opportunities to prepare future leaders, and something, Governor, we know that's very important to you, workforce and workers. And of course, nonprofits and governmental agencies improve their outcomes as well, and the programs and services that make our states and our communities a better place to live, to work, and to play. PEN is one of 29 state and regional nonprofits that are advancing excellence across the entire United States. PEN started serving South Dakota from its original home base in Minnesota approximately 5 years ago, and our state did not have a Baldrige-based program at that time. However, today, PEN serves a growing number of organizations across South Dakota, some of which you may know, such as the Brookings School District, the Good Samaritan Society, the South Dakota National Guard, the University Center in Sioux Falls, the BX Civil and Construction, Augustana University, and the South Dakota Department of Transportation. Today we're thrilled to recognize one of those organizations, the South Dakota Department of Transportation, a state agency that is on literally the leading edge of using proven business principles to advance its mission, improve its performance, better engage its employees, optimize very, very precious resources, and achieve ultimately better outcomes. Now I'd like to invite Brian Laster, President and CEO of the Performance Excellence Network, who will provide a bit more of context on the framework that the Department of Transportation and their leadership, and many others across the region and frankly the nation, are using to significantly improve performance outcomes and results. Brian.
Clint, thank you, Governor. Secretary Berquist. I have 2 minutes is all, so we want to hear from the Governor and the Secretary. Not nearly as important, but I do want to give you a little more context for those in the room and those online about what this award really means. This program was founded in 1991 as the performance, it was called the Minnesota Quality Award, now it's the Performance Excellence Award for South Dakota. And the objective is to help organizations improve their outcomes by helping leaders identify and prioritize what to improve in their enterprise. The award also serves to recognize performance excellence throughout the state, throughout the region, by celebrating an organization's strengths with its workforce and its stakeholders, and hopefully motivating continued sustained improvement over time. The South Dakota Performance Excellence Award is given in 4 levels: commitment, advancement, achievement, and excellence. It's the culmination of a rigorous assessment process that uses the Baldrige criteria for performance excellence as the basis for its evaluation. If you're not as familiar with Baldrige, it evaluates nearly every aspect of an organization's management system, from its leadership system to its strategic planning process, to how it relates and builds relationships with its customers, to how it uses measures and information and knowledge to make decisions and to improve performance, to how it builds capability and relationships and engagement with its workers, to how it operates its operations, design and implementation of its processes that delivers value to its customer base. The framework also rigorously evaluates an organization's outcomes, the results that it's aspiring to achieve, such as finances and budgetary results, customer-related results, workforce-related results, leadership, governance, and operations-related results. Just so you know, the Baldrige framework is maintained by the Baldrige Performance Excellence Program, which is part of the United States Department of Commerce. It was created in 1987 under the Reagan administration. And it sets the standards for performance excellence. These criteria are revised every 2 years by studying the highest performing organizations in the country, figuring out how they achieve those world-class performance results, and those become future years' criteria. So it really has become a validated set of best practices that any organization can gauge its own performance against. Our assessment process, as Darren can attest, is pretty comprehensive. It involves a team of volunteers that provide well over 1,000 hours of expert help to help an organization identify its strengths so that we protect or leverage them, and identify and prioritize those precious improvement opportunities so that you can optimize results. Since 1991, 138 organizations have received a level of recognition through this program, and 3 of them have now come from South Dakota. In case you're interested, the Vera Sacred Heart Hospital in Yankton received the award in 2011. And as Clint mentioned, the South Dakota National Guard have received it twice, in 2014 and 2016. DOT has demonstrated really true commitment to improving performance by using this framework 2 or 3 years ago to self-assess. And this is their first time to complete an application for recognition. And I have to tell you, I live in Minnesota, across the border, and I noticed a very distinct change in the quality of the roads, the service, and very fine construction folks along the way. Ben's thrilled to partner with the DOT, Darren, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and your team for years to come as you improve your outcomes, as we improve the quality of this great state. Thank you, Governor, for hosting, and I look forward to your remarks to celebrate excellence in South Dakota.
Brian, while I was sitting here, my phone buzzed, and it's coincidental that it did because I'm sure everyone has computers and smartphones and tablets that are constantly urging us to look at something that's urgent. It's something that has to be attended to immediately. In fact, as you drive, you have to discipline yourself against using your smart devices to be a safe driver. But it just reminds us that this society we live in today, we're constantly bombarded with messages to encourage us to do something right now, something that's urgent. And sometimes those things are also important, but not always. And sometimes the things that are urgent, that are demanding of our immediate attention, distract us from doing the things that are even more important to do. And so our schedules drive us. We get caught up in our day-to-day routines and our schedule and our processes, and we don't stop to take assessment of how we do things and whether the things we're doing are truly the right things and the most important things in terms of what's the most priority we should assign to them. When I worked at Children's Home Society for nearly 20 years, we had a continuous quality improvement committee. And their job was to look at and measure things, and not always the things that we've been measuring. I think that's another temptation and trap we fall into. We measure the things we've always measured just because it's what we've always done. and we don't stop and think, have we already attained the improvement that we sought through this initial measurement process? Should we turn to other measures that maybe demand our attention more important than the ones we've been measuring? And so a good process of continuous quality improvement switches the measures from time to time, looks at something new, measures, establish a baseline, and then says, and we say to one another, how can we do better against this baseline? How can we improve? So I really applaud Darren and his team. Applying for a PEN award is not something I required of him. It's not something he was demanded to do. It's not something I required or demanded of the South Dakota National Guard when they achieved this award in 14 and last year. And so when Darren's monthly report in May informed me that the DOT had won this award, I knew it's something you have to ask for. You have to fill out an application. Actually, you start out with a letter of intent. I went on the website and looked at what's the process you go through. Well, you have to fill out a letter of intent, and then 2 months later, you have to either submit a pretty extensive application, or you have to survey your employees, or you have to have someone come in and survey you to establish kind of where you are. And then a team of about a dozen volunteers who have knowledge about organizations like yours spends, as was just mentioned by Ryan, spends about 1,000 hours plus looking at your organization, both in terms of studying your materials and coming to a consensus about what they think they should study when they get here, and then come here. And so they spend hours and hours and probably days looking at the Department of Transportation here in South Dakota before they produced a report and gave the DOT this award. There's 4 levels of award. Again, I looked at the website. They're commitment, advancement, achievement, and then the top performers get excellence. DOT qualified for the second level, the advancement, which means that, hey, we're better than commitment. We did more than just say we've got to do better. We're already doing pretty well, but there's opportunity for improvement. And how worthless would an assessment be if it came back and said you're doing everything perfectly? Then we would have wasted our time and money to gain nothing. So in the ideal world, of course, we hope that we're perfect in all ways, but we all know that we're not. And so it's great to have a report that Darren can take to his leadership and that the leadership of DOT can utilize to get even better. And I really do feel DOT is a very good organization. I think we use scientific and data-driven methods to drive our work, to assess our roads and bridges, and to maintain and improve our railroads, and airports, and highways, especially our highways and bridges. And so I'm very proud of DOT, and I'm proud of Darren and your team for saying we can do even better. Let's employ this Baldrige criteria. Let's apply for a PEN evaluation. Let's see where we go, what they assess us as opportunities for improvement, and now we have this award. So congratulations, Darren. Congratulations to the Department of Transportation. I'm even more proud today than I was before. Darren?
Thank you, Governor. I appreciate your comments, and unlike Ryan, I probably can't limit my comments to 2 minutes, but I'll try. But I kind of wanted to give a little brief history on the department and what led us to where we're at today. If you look back, historically, the department has always struggled for years with strategic planning and developing methods to continually drive improvements in the organization. Excuse me. It seemed that everything that we
Darren
did
always gets choked up.
Sorry. That was supposed to be the end.
Well, we got to the award.
Everything we ever did was not very sustainable. There's very little accountability. It seemed like every year we would get together, we put together a strategic plan, we pat ourselves on the back, we put it on the shelf, and then a year later, we pull it out, dust it off, and realize we hadn't done anything on it. In 2012, Steve Wagner introduced myself and the department's executive team to the Baldrige criteria, which I will admit I had never heard of until Steve mentioned it. And as a result of that, we completed the initial Baldrige Express self-evaluation, which gave us an initial feedback report that identified areas of needed improvement. That feedback report really provided to us assurance that the criteria was the framework that we wanted to use as a department to drive improvement in organizational performance. What attracted us to the Baldrige criteria was that it was validated, it was structured, it was systematic, and it was a sustainable approach to how we analyzed our organization and identified opportunities for improvement to help drive better performance in the organization. So from 2013 to 2017, we started working with Brian Penn and Paul Rizzo. Couldn't have got here without his guidance and help. And for 4 years, we worked on developing a formal strategic planning process, trying to drive employee engagement, customer engagement, and improve our processes. In 2017, we felt we progressed far enough in our efforts in improving our organization that we wanted to get an unbiased outside perspective on how we were doing, what we were missing. So we went through the process, we completed an application. We asked Penn to have an outside evaluation team come in and review our organization, which they did. That included an on-site visit where they interviewed over 130 DOT employees at all levels of our organization. They reviewed a mountain of documents and information to help get an idea of how we were performing as an organization under the Baldrige criteria. And we didn't do this, we didn't go into this with any intent of getting any reward or recognition. It was purely, we wanted to find out how we could do better as an organization. As a result, not only did we receive a very detailed report outlining what we were doing well and also identifying many areas that needed improvement, but it was that evaluation, the results of that evaluation, that led the department to being selected to this award. I want to mention just maybe 3 key points or strengths that came out of that evaluation. These are things that I'm very proud of as a DOT and as an organization. One was that throughout our organization, that group found that there was a commitment to our mission at all levels. The evaluators were specifically highlighted the dedicated employees at DOT and their commitment to delivering a safe and efficient transportation system, helping make better lives through better transportation. They also noticed that there was a culture and department-wide focus on continuous improvement. The DOT was committed to finding better, more efficient processes to meet the critical needs of the citizens of South Dakota. And finally, they found that we had developed a very effective strategic planning process, which has been critical to us to provide priorities for us and our staff. There's obviously many, many things we can be working on as a department. So we need to prioritize, we need to make sure that all are working on the most important items and all are going in the same direction. I think the strategic planning process that we have in place today has helped accomplish that. Some of the benefits that I think we've seen as an organization for being involved with Penn and Baldrige is it really helps our organization focus, align, and accelerate our performance excellence efforts. While we have many opportunities to improve, using the criteria has provided the systematic prioritization, direction, and accountability that we needed as an organization to evaluate our performance and move us forward. What we've accomplished to this point and where we're at today is the result of the efforts of a whole lot of people. Obviously, Steve introducing us, Paul's guidance were both key. Craig Smith, single-handedly has championed our efforts in this regard. Keeps us on task sometimes, as the governor mentioned, other things pop up and seem to take priority, and Craig is always willing to get us back on task and keep us going, and I want to say thanks to Craig for that. The department's executive team, many who are here today, have all embraced the Baldrige criteria. They've all worked together as a team to use the criteria to help improve the performance of the department. In addition to them, we have about 45 or 50 different people in the department who have been on various category teams to help identify and prioritize our opportunities for improvement and help develop strategies to make further improvements. And
then beyond that, we have many, many other employees who've gotten involved by being on teams that are working on a whole host of different action plans and items that we have designed to help improve some element of the department's performance and operations. While we acknowledge that we have a long way to go, it's important to periodically stop as we are today and reflect on how far we've come, and we've come a long ways. It's truly been a large team effort that's gotten us to this point. And I want to make sure I say thank you to every one of the people that has been part of that team and helped us out. All those people embrace the concept of continuous improvement and have been involved in getting us to this point, and they will all be helping us as we continue to move forward towards becoming an organization that truly performs at a very high level. You know, oftentimes the process of continuous improvement is referred to as a journey, and we're on that journey, and we look forward to continuing on that journey as we seek to improve the performance of the Department of Transportation for the benefit of our customers and stakeholders. So, thank you, Steve, Paul, Brian, Greg, executive team. All of you had a part in this, and all of you shared this work.
Bravo, Greg. Well, I have to leave for a teleconference, but I wanted to let you know an important new announcement. One of the important, both urgent and important priorities that was identified in the report was a replacement that needed to be made. They're going to replace the governor at the end of this year. And that will be attained. No, it's in the works. Progress. Continuous improvement. Congratulations, Jerry.